I'm Glenn McGuinness, and this is Outburst. This week, are you satisfied with the federal government's handling of vaccine procurement?
Well, I mean, as long as it's safe.
It would be nicer if we could actually produce it.
Yeah, I think he's done a great job.
Hurry up and wait.
Well, a COVID vaccine has finally been approved by Health Canada, and it's the federal government's intention to distribute close to 250,000 doses to Canadians as soon as possible. But the federal government has been receiving some flack from the opposition about Canada's place amongst developed nations in terms of a vaccine. The opposition parties say Canada has dropped the ball when it comes to a vaccine rollout, but Canada has become the third developed nation to approve a vaccine, ahead of the FDA in the United States. So, what do you think about this? Our question.
Are you satisfied with how the federal government is handling vaccine procurement?
It would be nicer if we could get those available to the general public. Obviously, there's priorities, long-term healthcare, and our healthcare professionals that are putting their lives on at risk to make things happen. So yes, they get that first. I just wish that it could be accelerated so that we could somehow get back to living just a little differently and more safely. But yeah, let's get that rolled out a bit quicker. But other than that, I'm quite pleased with it. I mean, it's only been a year that this has been in the works, so that's an incredibly rapid way to get things developed and proven and tested and approved. So I think they're doing a really good job, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think they've done the best they could given the circumstances. I mean, nobody's done it before. It would be great if the Conservatives hadn't shut down the manufacturing from the labs in the 80s. That would be great. We would be able to manufacture our own. It's a bit alarming to be like a fully developed country and not be able to produce our own vaccines. Like, that's kind of a bummer.
I think so, yes. You can't rush it, of course. So I feel like they're trying to do the best that they can during this pandemic. You know, it's a new vaccine. We don't want to rush to get it, and I'm not going to, per se, rush to get it.
No, I think they put too many eggs in a China basket. They should have been a little more aggressive in spreading the companies from whom they were going to get vaccines. They should have ensured we were a little closer to the front runners on getting the vaccine. Because, look, based on what I'm seeing, Canadians won't be vaccinated until the end of next year, like the majority. So no, I'm not happy.
Well, I mean, as long as it's safe and, you know, from my little research, it seems like it's promising. Why not?
Are you in a hurry to get your shot?
I wouldn't say so.
Why?
I want to make sure there's no side effects or any issues associated with it before I run and get it. I would say that's my main concern.
I think they're assuming that everyone wants the vaccine. Not everybody wants it. I can definitely say for myself that I don't want it.
Hurry up and wait. So, I'm sure they could, I think they could probably do a little bit quicker in that regard. A lot of people are probably have it and are probably wanting to get it.
I am, because at all stages, since we began with the COVID-19 pandemic situation, I have, our Prime Minister has been on top of he informs us every day and has started informing us again. And I see that his response has been right on time, in timely fashion. We are informed. He's thorough and clear and transparent.
And what about you?
I think this COVID situation has been new worldwide. No one really knew how to manage this because we've never been in this situation before. And I think the approach the government has had from the beginning has been to maintain the public informed with the information that they had on hand at that time. And yes, it might have changed to something different later on, but they informed the public about what was going on with the information they have, with the resources they had at that time. In terms of the vaccine, I think that they've done the same. They've had a lot of pressure from not only the public, but from other members of parliament and from other political, but they've had tremendous amount of pressure to give deadlines, to give specific dates when the vaccine's going to be ready. And I think that, again, the Prime Minister has handled that very well.
So far it seems okay. It would be nicer if we could actually produce it, but we're not in a position to make too many demands since we don't.
Well, it's very hard to say because, you're not in that position. And as compared to a lot of countries, I think Canada is still doing a little bit better. And all these precautions. And as just compared to the vaccine, we can't say because there's not a lot of knowledge being given out. So you cannot really, comment on it. But as long as they're saying they're going to be vaccines available until December and they're going to be giving it to people with some special requirements, well, the idea looks good. But, it will be different, of course, when it's going to be in the practice. So
absolutely. I think because we're the third in the world that's given approval for the vaccine, and Pfizer does have some issues with storage or transportation because it has to be kept at such a low temperature. So that will present problems for provinces across Canada. Do we have enough? No. Will we get more? Hopefully.
Well, I think they're giving it a lot of thought, and they'll give it to the appropriate people. You watch the American channels; they also say which way they're going to do it, which is to the the healthcare workers, the older people, and then the general public. No great mystery.
Yes, and especially with the military involved and having it for everyone to get, in sequence and stuff. No one's going to be done immediately, as far as severity and stuff. Yes, no, fully satisfied.
Oh yeah, I think we're doing great in that. That's when I watched the Conservative leader the other day. He was you don't know anything yet, and Trudeau has done a lousy job. I think he's done a great job.
Yes, I am. I'm glad they put it in the military hands. They know how to organize people and things much better than anybody. I used to work for the Department of Defense, and they have some real professionals.
As COVID-19 cases continue to soar upward across the country, we're seeing a replay of many of the things we saw at the beginning of the pandemic. Closure of businesses, bans on public gatherings, and a stressed healthcare system. That said, many of us are more used to being more cautious these days. But in a second wave, have you upped the ante when it comes to staying safe? Our question.
Have you been taking extra precautions during the second wave?
So whenever we're indoors, we always have multiple masks with us just in case. And in case we're with someone who doesn't have one, I always have a few in my purse ready. So that's one of the things. Also, adhering to the number of people in your home to immediate family and maximum of 5. And then just hand sanitizer, washing, just doing the common sense things to try and prevent the spread.
Social distancing, wearing a mask, not outdoors here, not avoiding stores, not gather. We just have a very small bubble. We're not seeing our friends. It's terrible. Or our family, we're not traveling. It's a lot of concessions.
So we've basically been doing pretty much everything that they've been asking now from here and before, just to make sure that we don't take anything into where we work. And obviously, like everyone, we have high-risk family members too, so it's really important to us.
We're having our groceries picked for us and then put in our trunk. And we're wearing masks when we go indoors to other places. And we're minimizing our shopping.
My work has changed. I'm a pastor, and we are not meeting in our churches anymore until January. And that's...
So you're doing online YouTube services?
Yeah, we're doing all of our meetings online. And I'm got a couple of private music students, and I'm not sure what we're going to do, but I might do something about that and move on to try Zoom with them.
No, since March, when we got back to Saskatchewan, we just stayed away. We just did what we've been doing all along.
Masks everywhere, social distancing, staying home as much as possible. So the park is really nice because we can get some fresh air and keep our space.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's essential that we do to protect, well, everybody in society at large, but also I have a lot of friends that are frontline workers who are really stressed out about the fact that they have a lot of extra exposure, and I just think it's our duty to do everything we can to take those precautions and for governments to also be taking further measures to do the same.
I'm not having people come over and visit. I'm not going to restaurants right now, just doing takeout. Always wear a mask when I'm out in public, like in a store. Always wear a mask at work. That's basically it. When I'm around people, keeping the distance obviously, but really just curbing my activity now and keeping the bubble really small.
We can only do the best as Canadians to flatten it until the vaccine comes out, which hopefully we get in first quarter of 2021.
We bring an extra change of clothes when we go to work, and then we also wear our goggles and our gloves and full PPE when I'm out in the community, and then I change when I leave. So I'm doing that precaution, as before I wasn't doing that.
How about you? Have you changed your...
Yeah, again, just taking more precautions, wearing masks everywhere, wearing gloves, like even with work, we just wear full PPE the whole time. And then going into any kind of shops, any indoor spaces, just have masks on, gloves on, sanitize after touching handles and stuff like that. So just take all the precautions that we need to, yeah.
I've been taking the precautions since day one. I mean, back in January, I came back from Mexico and they were already wearing masks like this in the airport. And that just seemed unusual to me. And I started asking somebody while we're being herded around there, you know, like the cattle in the big long lineup coming back on a Sunday, what the masks were all about. Somebody told me about this virus. Oh yeah, I read about that a week or two ago, whatever, from China, right? You know, that kind of stuff. And I thought, this is it. This will be a pandemic.
Yes, I've been taking extra precautions. I no longer go to the public to a gym that I go to. I work out at home. I try to stay away from enclosed spaces where aerosols can be increased, and I keep my distance as much as possible everywhere I am.
Well, I'm wearing my mask, and I'm not right now. That's kind of contradictory, but yeah, just social distancing mainly, and staying in my little bubble of family. And I appreciate them. Everybody's trying to do the same and get through it as fast as you can, and hopefully there is a vaccine.
Yeah, we've been avoiding crowds and restaurants, and just, you know, one of us will go into a store. We just avoid people as much as possible, and always wear a mask, follow the rules. But the extras is, I guess we would stay home more than normal, eat out less, and don't go to theaters and things like that, unfortunately.
I don't want to meet so many people. We don't invite people at home either. Like, this is our bubble. We see each other a lot, so no problem. But yes, we have to take care. And my husband is older than me, and I don't want to bring anything at home.
You're not supposed to say.
Why not?
How old are you, sir?
I'm 81. 81.
Who served the shortest tenure as Prime Minister in Canadian history? Sir Charles Tupper, John Turner, Kim Campbell. Tupper, Turner, or Campbell?
Campbell?
Campbell. Campbell? I don't know.
Tupper, Turner, or Campbell?
Should I pick a different one?
Sure.
Campbell.
That's what I picked.
Wait, what? I thought you said, okay, Turner.
Turner.
Tupper?
Tupper?
You know what? You're right. It's Tupper.
Wow.
Although he was the longest surviving father of Confederation, Sir Charles Tupper was Canada's shortest serving Prime Minister. Tupper was born in Amherst, Nova Scotia in 1821. He was a doctor by trade, but in his political career, he became Premier of Nova Scotia in 1864 and led the province into Confederation. After moving to federal politics for several years, in 1896, Tupper finally became leader of the Conservative Party and Prime Minister. However, Tupper was forced to dissolve Parliament after just 10 weeks into his tenure, making his term as Prime Minister the shortest.
Lately, we've talked a lot about small businesses on this show, and as the pandemic rolls on, many small business owners are wondering when the shoe is going to drop, as they may be forced to close their doors once again. So we sent our cameras out to ask Canadians if they're making more of an effort to support small businesses in their communities. Our question:
do you buy local more since the pandemic began?
Yes, yeah. I'm actually on my way to a store right now to pick up something for Christmas from a local store.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I've tried to go to more like local grocery stores. The new grocery store down in Wellington, I've been there quite a few times. Yeah, I've just been trying to help out the community a lot more instead of buying from big retail stores, especially around the Christmas season where I think they're really struggling and they need the support of the community.
Indeed I do. Indeed I do. I think I live out in Chelsea, and so we're local farms. We even got 6 chickens in a chicken coop for our little kids, and so we've got our own eggs, and big Dominion City fan, so I got my beer there, and we do whatever we can. Yeah, local grocers, and my wife buys her products, makeup and whatnot from a girl in the community, and so yeah, we're trying to do that as much as we can, for sure, no question about it.
You know, I don't. I don't have a car. I'm walking right now to the post office, so I buy local in my neighborhood, but in terms of like going across town to buy Christmas gifts, I'm not doing that. I'm ordering stuff online mostly.
I'd say about the same amount. You know, I do try to support more restaurants than I would have normally, but it doesn't feel safe going to a lot of restaurants or going to a bar for a drink to support them. Unfortunately, they're in the wrong business, the hospitality business. Like, I do travel for business. The hotels are empty. They're suffering. The airlines are empty. They're suffering. And there doesn't seem to be any help from the governments on that front, or minimal.
Kind of about the same. I've been married 42 years. My wife does most of the shopping, so.
Yes. Local grocery shops, which are smaller and less populated, feel much safer for myself as an individual to enter and shop at, even with the increased price point, because I think that we're all going to be affected by the price point regardless, because that's a supply and demand issue as opposed to a small business issue.
I barely buy at all. An artist in Vancouver. Yeah, no, I've always bought local.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. We haven't been buying, I would say we've been buying kind of like comfort items, more like things to go outside and walk around, or things for the home. So we've been buying things in the area, but a lot online as well. So kind of a mix, I would say, because the local community doesn't offer many things that are innovative or new. It's kind of things that you see 5 or 10 years ago. There's nothing particularly unique about them. So you go online usually to look for something a little more special. So we've been doing a little bit more online, unfortunately.
Well, we always buy in town. We rarely do any delivery as far as Amazon or any of that stuff. So yeah, we buy local.
We get our groceries local, and I go to the store that's right behind my house because of convenience. Other than that, it's just been a couple of items online, but really not shopping as much in general during this time. Just the essentials, really. Just groceries and a few odds and ends. That's basically it.
Kind of yes, kind of no, because a lot of the local businesses are closing. So unfortunately, I have to go to some big box stores. But I mean, at least they're there. Unfortunately, not a lot of the local businesses aren't, which is unfortunate.
We have, it's been a mix of both, because buying local is nice, but it's also been a little bit challenging in a lot of cases as well. So some of the online purchases have been there as well, just to keep us safe?
I suppose so. Thought we always purchase things locally, but I guess so. Yeah. Well, we missed the farmers market for sure. We had difficulty there. But some of the farmers were providing services or products online. So we bought it offline and then picked it up from them.
Yes. Yeah, we've been trying to just buy local as much as possible. Even things like Our Best to You used to be a craft fair, but now it's online. And there are other Etsy people that are also local artisans, trying to stick to those people so that we're supporting our community.
I try to. I've got to admit, like, we've actually had 2 times we've had to self-quarantine, so we've actually had to order from bigger stores only because we can't go into any businesses, and it's often bigger corporations, unfortunately, that provide those services. But we do try and support local businesses as much as possible so that they will hopefully exist after the pandemic's done.
The COVID-19 pandemic has been with us for almost a year now. And for many of us, the way things used to be seems like such a long time ago because so much has changed. Now we wear masks everywhere we go, and we've been separated from our loved ones. So we took to the streets to ask Canadians how they've been affected by COVID-19. Our question:
what impact has the pandemic had on you?
Oh, definitely been working from home. It's not easier at all. I thought it would be fun. I don't have to show up to the work and can, like, just be lazy and, do all this thing. It's definitely hard, especially on my mental health. When you have, everyone suffers from anxiety at different levels in their life, but this definitely has given a rise to it, and that has affected, your performance at work and all that. But again, to be safe, if that's the only alternative, then I definitely support it. But it's hard on days. It's hard on days, definitely, personally, yeah.
Someone I know got COVID, very mild, but still it meant everybody around her had to be tested. And that was fine. I didn't mind it. I have an 82-year-old mother, so it's always nice to have confirmation that you're okay.
Lose a year of my life and great uncertainty. But generally speaking, other than that, just I'm not working, so no real effect other than that. But a lot of social contact, loss of travel, loss of seeing people, and right now, lots of good restaurants.
Oh, well, I'm 71, and we usually spend our winters in Florida. We left in March, rushed back home, sanitizing every hotel room that we stayed in. We even whizzed by our daughter, who lives in Maine, and we haven't seen her husband, or our grandson since January. It's very hard, yeah.
Actually, I'm retired. I'm a senior. It really hasn't impacted me much, except that that you have to watch out what you're doing. But the only thing is my kids are all out west, so it doesn't affect me in that way. But some of my grandchildren are here, and sometimes we get to see them, sometimes we don't. Right now, we can't.
I think that it has allowed me to stay home a lot more and actually get some of my own projects done.
Limited. I'm recently retired, so I spend a fair bit of time at my cottage, and I get a fair bit of work done. So I'm getting more time outdoors, enjoying myself. So no, it's been limited. Outside of family, visiting and stuff like that there. So there has been a certain impact with it there, but it's had a bearing, but not significantly.
At the beginning of the pandemic, when it was declared a global pandemic on March 14, 2020, my 2-year-old daughter had gone with her father on holidays to Portugal, to the Azores Islands. They canceled all of the flights, and they were stuck in the island, and I couldn't see my 2-year-old daughter for 4 months. We were away. There was nothing that I could do. I honestly almost went crazy. I talked to the Canadian consulates, embassies. I talked to my MP, But I just had to be patient because we were all affected in many different ways. I think that the pandemic had a way to affect all of us where it hurt the most. And that, as you can imagine, hurt me the most. Fast forward, she was able to come back and she's now safe.
It hasn't had a hell of a lot of impact given the nature of my job, other than just an inability to do what you feel like doing. Like normally at this time of year, I'm in Hawaii golfing. I can't do that. Just restrictions, but surviving. Like I can still buy groceries, I can still travel to some degree within Canada, so.
Well, like most people, I'm feeling a bit isolated and haven't seen my parents in almost a year now. We saw them at Christmas last year, so it'll be a year to come Christmas. They're in Northern Ontario where things are good, but they're not going to travel here where things are less good. I'm working from home, so my income hasn't been impacted, but my daughter's in high school and she really suffered in the spring and is now back half-time, which she's in grade 12, so it's hard for her.
Actually, there's a lot of things changes during the pandemic, okay? Especially the life, the social distancing, these kind of things that's actually affected us a lot. So I usually go to outside for gymming or do activities. Now these days I cannot do it that much because of the pandemic. Also I used to like to go to the school for studying, but right now it's hard for me to go to the school and do all my study there. So these are the things that affected me, yes. And see my friends, my family, trying to travel around to see family back home, and I could not do that.
My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law both contracted COVID. They're in the industry. They work hard in the service industry to provide a service, and it just so happened that it got them, and they're recovering. And but it's impacted our family and our friends quite significantly, and so I'm very anxious to get these vaccines out for the general public as well.
Only negative effects.
Like what? Tell me what.
I can't feel comfortable anywhere except for outside. Not even outside, actually. The only place I can feel comfortable is in my own home.
I guess it's been kind of lonely, but luckily we weren't affected financially. I mean, I still work, so I'm counting my blessings.
Bad for business. A lot of loss for businesses, and around Ottawa, like, people are struggling to find jobs. So I mean, like, it is what it is, and within time, I think things will get back to normal.
Thanks for watching this episode of Outburst on the Cable Public Affairs channel. I'm Glenn McGuinness. If you have any comments about this show or any other show, you can find us on social media. You can also find us on our website at www.cpac.ca. It's your turn to speak up, and we're listening.